There's this moment that happens when you're drowning in the particular loneliness of motherhood or marriage. When you're convinced that what you're feeling makes you broken, defective, the only woman who can't seem to get this right, and then someone says it. Someone whispers the thing you thought only you thought. And the relief is so profound it feels like your chest might crack open. I'm finding community in shared struggle, not in the highlight reels, not in the perfect family photos or the declarations of how blessed we are, but in the mess, in the admissions we're taught to hide, in the truth we're afraid makes us bad mothers, bad wives, bad women. This is where real connection lives, in the broken places we've been told to cover up. For so long, I performed fine. I performed grateful. I smiled at play dates and said the right things about how fast they grow, how precious these years are, how lucky we are. And I meant it, in a way. But I also felt like I was suffocating under the weight of pretending that this was enough. That I was enough. That I wasn't sometimes counting the hours until bedtime or crying in my car before I went inside. The isolation of pretending to be okay is its own kind of violence. It separates us from each other and from ourselves. We become curators of an acceptable version of our lives, editing out anything that might reveal we're struggling. And in doing so, we lose access to the very thing that might save us each other. I think about all the years I wasted believing I was uniquely failing, that other mothers weren't touched by rage or resentment, that other wives didn't sometimes look at their husbands and feel like strangers were living in their homes, that I was the only one who loved my children desperately and still sometimes fantasized about disappearing. The loneliness of thinking you're alone in your struggle is crushing. It makes everything heavier. It turns normal human difficulty into evidence of personal inadequacy. I remember the first time someone told me the truth. We were at a birthday party, standing in someone's kitchen while our kids destroyed the living room. She looked exhausted. I asked if she was okay, expecting the usual, "Oh, just tired. You know how it is." Instead, she looked at me and said, "I don't think I like being a mother most days. I love my kids, but I don't like this life." The silence that followed felt huge. I could have filled it with reassurance, with the socially acceptable response that would have let us both retreat to safety. But something in me broke open instead. "I know," I said. "Me too." We just stood there, two women in a kitchen surrounded by the chaos of other people's children, crying quietly. Not performing gratitude, not pretending, just being honest about how hard this is. That moment changed something in me. It showed me that connection doesn't happen in the polished version of our lives. It happens in the raw truth, in the admission that we're struggling, in the vulnerability we've been taught is weakness. After that, I started looking for it this kind of honesty. And once I started looking, I found it everywhere. In late night texts from friends admitting they'd yelled at their kids, in whispered confessions in grocery store aisles, in the comment sections of articles about maternal ambivalence, where hundreds of women were saying, "Me too, me too, me too." We're sold so many myths about what motherhood and marriage should look like, that it should feel natural, that love should be enough, that if we're struggling, we must be doing something wrong, that good mothers are endlessly patient, that happy wives never feel trapped, that if we just tried harder, wanted it more, fixed ourselves better, it would all fall into place. These myths keep us isolated. They make us believe that our struggles are personal failings rather than predictable responses to impossible expectations. The truth is, this is hard. Being responsible for small humans who need everything from you while you're also trying to maintain a marriage, a household, maybe a career, definitely your sanity, it's hard. Having your identity shift so dramatically that you sometimes can't recognize yourself, it's hard. Loving someone for years while life chips away at the romance and leaves you with logistics and exhaustion, it's hard. This isn't a failure. This is reality. But we're so afraid to say it. We're afraid that admitting it's hard means we're ungrateful. That will be judged. That will be seen as less than. That our honesty will be used against us, turned into evidence that we're not cut out for this. So we stay quiet. We perform competence. We pretend. And the pretending makes us sicker and lonelier than the struggle ever could. But here's what I've learned. When we tell the truth about our struggles, we give other people permission to tell theirs. Our honesty creates space for someone else's honesty. And suddenly, we're not alone anymore. I started being more honest. Not in a performative way, not for shock value, but just real. When someone asked how I was, I sometimes told them. I admitted when I was overwhelmed. I talked about the parts of motherhood I didn't love. I stopped pretending my marriage was effortless. And the most remarkable thing happened. People started trusting me with their truth too. The friend who admitted she sometimes regrets having kids, even though she loves them fiercely. The woman at the park who said she hasn't felt like herself in years and doesn't know if she ever will again. The neighbor who confessed her marriage feels more like a business partnership than a love story, and she doesn't know what to do with that. These conversations, these admissions, these shared struggles, they became my lifeline. They showed me I wasn't broken. They normalized the complexity of what we're living through. They made space for all of it, the love and the resentment, the gratitude and the grief, the joy and the rage. Community built on shared struggle is different from other kinds of connection. It's not about what we have in common on the surface. It's about the depths we're willing to go to together. It's about being seen in our mess and not being abandoned. It's about the radical act of saying, "This is hard for me," and hearing "me too." There's healing in being witnessed in your struggle, not fixed, not rescued, not given advice or solutions, just seen, just acknowledged, just met in the hard place with, yes, this is real, and you're not alone in it. For so long, I thought I needed to have it all figured out before I could connect with other people. I thought I needed to be better, stronger, more together. I thought my struggles made me less worthy of love and belonging. But the opposite is true. Our struggles are where real connection happens. Our vulnerability is what lets other people in. Our willingness to be honest about how hard this is creates the space where community can actually form. I'm building different friendships now, not ones based on our kids being the same age or living in the same neighborhood, but ones based on emotional honesty, on the willingness to show up in the mess, on the understanding that we're all carrying so much more than anyone can see. These are the women I text at 2 in the morning when I can't sleep because anxiety is eating me alive. The ones I tell when I've been touched out all day and snapped at my kids. The ones who let me say the things I'm not supposed to say without trying to talk me out of my feelings or fix me. This is community, not the sanitized version, not the performance, but the real, messy, honest truth of our lives. I'm finding community in shared struggle, and it's saving me. Not because struggle is good or noble or something to celebrate, but because honesty is, connection is, being seen in our humanity is. You are not the only one who feels this way. Whatever you're carrying, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you think makes you different or broken or less than someone else is feeling it too. And when you find the courage to say it out loud, you create the possibility for real connection. We don't have to carry this alone. We were never supposed to. The weight she carries is heavy, but it gets lighter when we carry it together.